Hello everybody, it's Donna. Today's tutorial is on cutting out a DSP using your Scan and Cut CM350. This machine is actually discontinued because they brought out a newer one. I did not include any links to either one of the machines simply because I believe that you could probably get a better deal other than on Amazon. The CM350 being discontinued might be available at Michael's or any of those other craft stores at a clearance price. The CM350 is not available on Brother's site, but the newer one, which is shown right here, is available and on their site itself. I'm going to be using the Magnolia Lane DSP from the annual catalog. I'm going to be cutting out some of the little tiny flowers that are in them. I'm going to be using them hopefully in a future project involving junk journals. I want to do a junk journal all on just this suite, the Magnolia Lane suite. So I thought this was a great place to start with some embellishments. I cut out a square of 6x6. There was no point in doing that as full sheet, as well as a square of white, and I believe that might be petal pink. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to cut out the same shape a couple of times so I could have the embellishment thicker. I'm placing the Magnolia DSP right in the center. It doesn't really matter. I just want to make sure I always place the white in the other color in the exact same spot so I can get the same image to cut. It's almost like a printer, so if you move it around it's going to cut in a different spot. And I don't want that, so I want to leave it right in the center. I did use a little scraper just to hold it down. Now my mat is really old, so I'm going to be using some removable Scotch removable tape. You have to be really careful with this. It's not super sticky, so I do press it down really well. I don't generally reuse the Scotch removable tape simply because I'm afraid it's going to get caught up in my machine itself. And if you're concerned with that at all, I simply wouldn't use it. I'm not that worried about it. I did get once a piece of tape stuck in it, but I was able to turn the machine over and clean it out. Masking tape is a little bit stronger. Obviously, it would also tear your paper, but that's another option. You can actually put this mat into your Scan and Cut either way, but it needs to read those registration marks on the corners there. So this is my CM350. I use that button just to turn it on. Lower the front cover, I guess, to load your mat. Now I'm putting the mat in the way it's intended. That way, not the purple side, and I hit the button at the top there to load it. Now I'm going to do a direct cut. You can scan it to keep the information later, and I don't need to do that. You can scan in color or in black and white. I'm leaving it as black and white because black and white is faster. However, if you find that it's not scanning correctly or it needs you don't have enough definition between the images in your background, then the color in the scan in the color mode might work better for you. Now it's going to recognize it, and in the black and white mode it actually recognizes it faster, so it's a little bit faster processing it. The Scan and Cut also comes with this little stylus that you can use to do things like this where we want to frame what we're cutting so we can get rid of all the information that it doesn't need to keep processing. The little stylus is easier than my finger, but as usual I have no idea where it is. Now what we're going to do is we're going to remove some of the smaller images. We're telling it to ignore small pieces because the Scan and Cut sheet or the carrier sheet might have bits of dirt that we don't really want it to even worry about. So we're just going to do that. Now we're adding the outline distance on all the flowers. You don't have to do this if you want it to be cut right against the image, but I actually, in some cases I like the outline. So we did an outline of 0.04. Now what I'm doing is I'm removing all the little bits that I might not need. For instance, on the outside of the paper there was parts that were cut. So I'm just using the little arrows there to go through, and then I just enlarged it a bit so I can see it a little bit better to see which ones I needed to remove. Now there are flowers and there's also leaves, so I don't really need to remove the leaves because I do want some of them cut out. And now using those arrows I'm just skipping through the images to take a look at what else I need to delete. Obviously the garbage can is what I would use to remove anything. You could use your stylus to just jump around with the stylus, but by using the arrow keys I find I can catch a lot more. Because there could be things there that they're so tiny you don't see. I'm not showing everything that you can do with this machine. I love this machine. It's one of my favorite pieces. I am someone who likes their little toys like that. I do have silhouettes. I've had the silhouette since basically it was first available in Canada. I now have the silhouette cameo. I have a silhouette curio. I have a silhouette mint, and I have the Brother Scan and Cut. I do reach for my scan and cut. You can download images using your computer if you have it set up that way. I don't bother doing that because I have something like 9,000 images for my silhouette, so I don't use it to cut out other things, but you certainly can. I do use it as well to cut out some stamped images. Okay, so I hit the cut button to cut this out. The only thing to remember on this, I didn't show it to you because it's kind of off screen, is that you do have to change your blade depth depending on what your paper you're using, and every machine sometimes is slightly different based on how old or how much, I don't know, dust or whatever is affecting how your machine is running. My blade is a little bit dull. I've never changed the blade, so I need to have it set. I believe for the DSP it was about a 4, but for the cardstock it's more like 5, between a 5 and a 5 or 6. There are other settings, like how fast it goes through that. I usually don't change those. Okay, we're unloading the mat, but we are not deleting the image. We want that to stay there. And the reason is because I'm actually going to cut it again outside the DSP. Now this DSP has a pattern on the other side. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to cut it out again in another color. And there you go. There's the little flower cut out of there, and those are all the ones that very quickly that we were able to cut. A lot easier than fussy cutting them out, especially something that small. Okay, now I'm going to take the mat again and I'm going to clean it off, but attach the white to it, and we'll send that through as well. And then I will attach the pink and send that through as well. So I have just a couple of different colors. I don't really need them all, but I wasn't sure if I wanted white or pink, or maybe both, because these are going to be used in future projects. I am going to show you a couple things I made at the end, but for the majority of them are going to be put away in my stash to be used on hopefully my winter project that I'm working on. So again, I'm putting the white exactly the same place where I had the other DSP because I haven't changed it on my screen. So I want to make sure that when it cuts on the same area, or it cuts the paper. I have changed my blade depth to, I believe it was probably a 5. That works best with my machine. I haven't touched anything else in there. All I'm going to do is hit the cut button again once I've loaded it. And then I'm going to just send it through, and it's going to cut those off. Remove the mat, didn't change the design, left the design exactly where it is, because I'm going to remove the white pieces, and I'm going to attach the pink to the mat and send that through as well. Okay, so now I've finished cutting that. Now how I did it, because I was just doing a direct cut, the image isn't really, I can't come back and recut that because I haven't done anything like that. So once I remove the image, it's not going to be there anymore. And that's what I mean by I wanted to back it, because the image actually had like a green leafy part on the back of it, and I didn't want that showing. So I wanted it to make it a little bit thicker. You could actually layer these up a couple of times and get a nice thick embellishment. So that's the image that I didn't want to be shown. And there is some leaves there that I'm not showing you, but there is some little leaves as extras. And you can see the white outline all the way around everything. As I said, you don't need to do that. Okay, so these are the bookmarks I made. They're more meant for junk journaling. And because I am going to be using the Magnolia Lane suite in one of my junk journals, I did kind of keep it to that look. I did use, I believe that's Sahara sand and some Sahara sand ink to just go around the edges of it, because I didn't want the white, really bright white. I want it kind of tarnished, I guess. These are another couple of bookmarks for the top, and there's a couple that I used. I made a little bead dangly so they will hang out at the edge of the book. The other ones I had little leftover tassels from Stampin' Up, but I don't believe they're available anymore. I think that was from on the clearance rack. Great place to look if you're looking for something a little bit cheaper and you're not too concerned with it not being the latest color. This is a dictionary that I'm using. I wouldn't actually use these on a dictionary because the dictionary's paper is actually really thin. So I'm afraid those paper clips might actually tear that if I use that. But this will show you how it would look. If you're worried about these paper clips tearing or grabbing your paper, you could also use some of the ones that have like the rubberized, a rubberized coating on them. These also, though, I can actually pull them apart because they are just metal so that they don't slide in too tightly. These are meant to add little tuck spots or journaling cards underneath them in your junk journals. I do plan on making a stash of these up so that I have them available and don't have to stop to make them. And there you can see them on the edge of the book. So there you go. There's a very short tutorial on the Brother Scan and Cut. As I said, the machine I'm using is discontinued. You might still find it at Michael's or some of those other craft type stores. Amazon I found was a little bit too pricey. I think you can get a better deal elsewhere right now. When the SDX 125 is a little bit more popular, you might be able to find it on Amazon just as cheap as buying it directly from Brother. You might also be able to get it from Amazon. I haven't really, or not Amazon, but from Walmart or Michael's, but I haven't actually checked, so I'm not really sure. That is on my Christmas wish list. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and comment, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for watching.